next book I read was Fevered Star by Rebecca Roanhorse. This is the second book in the series, and so far so good. I really enjoyed this one. So this book starts basically from where book 1 stops. And yeah, what is Black Sun about? I can't tell you what book 2 is about because of spoilers and whatever, but Black Sun is basically set in this fictional world of, I'll put the name here. And so basically we are following different characters. It's a book with multiple POVs. We are on one hand, there's the Sun Priest who her name is Narampa. She just got elected as the Sun Priest, and people are not happy that she's on seat. They're like, how can this person from this clan, and this clan is basically rubbish, it's like the lowest of the low among all the clans. I say clans in the city, like they don't even consider it a clan, they just consider them to be the poor people. So anyway, people are not happy that she's on seat, and they're like, there's a lot of political intrigue going on her end, as people are trying to like remove her from power. Not necessarily remove her, but like they're just trying to make it seem like she does not have power. So she's dealing with that. Then we also have Serapio and Ziala. Ziala is like, I forget the word, but they're basically, oh, she's a tick. And ticks, they're like, you can think of them as mermaids or sirens. And yeah, she left her tick village to come and work in this other side of the continent, and she's the captain of a ship, and she has to transport this person from her country to this other country. And the person she's transporting, his name is, what's my man's name, Serapio. He's the sun god, or the crow god. That just say sun god. He's the crow god. So yeah, he's like a deity in human flesh, and he's supposed to travel. I'm saying this other city, but I can't remember their names, I'm sorry. So like they're supposed to transport him to this city. That's where the first person, the Sun Priest, is. That's the city he rules over. They're supposed to transport the crow god, that's Serapio, there because he has a destiny to fulfill or whatever. There's a lot of political intrigue in this book. Like I really enjoy it. I'm sorry that I can't give like a very coherent explanation, but it's like this book is fantastic for so many reasons, like the characters, the world building, the little political intrigue, like everything about this book is wonderful. I love this book. Anyway, so book 2 basically picks up from where book 1 starts, and yeah, I really enjoyed this. But however, I've seen a lot of people complain that not a lot happens in this book, and I agree, not a lot happens, because this is most like book 2 is kind of like putting everyone in place for book 3. Like we're just setting up people, like, okay, this person is going to move from here to here. So basically the author was just putting people in place for the final book, like moving this person to here, putting like everybody's like staying in their position, like getting ready for book 3. That's like what book 2 was like, preparation for book 3. But I personally enjoyed it. I like that in this book we kind of get to know a bit more about Narampa. Yes, Narampa is the Sun Priest, and yeah, her character, like in book 1 she was a very uninteresting person. Like I did not really care for her in book 1, but like she gets like a character arc, like her character really grows in this book, and I really loved that for her, because now I like Narampa. Like I'm starting to see potential in the babe, and I'm happy for her. Anyway, so we have a lot of characters get really good arcs in this one. So like there's a lot of development for most of the side characters in this book, which is one of the reasons why I like this book. And then my my guy, my G, Serapio, I wouldn't really say he got like a lot of character development, but I still love Serapio. Like Serapio cannot do wrong in my eyes, and I'm honestly excited for the final book. At least I believe the next book is the final book in the series. I'm excited for the showdown. I want to see what's going to happen, because things I know that things are going to happen in the last book. Yeah, so this was not really a review, it was mostly me raving about my favorite book. I'm sorry, it's a really good series. If you like fantasy series, I'm using a CD to fund myself, so don't mind me. But like if you enjoy reading fantasy series and you've not read Black Sun, my dear, go and read Black Sun. And the next book I read was You Truly Assumed. This one I enjoyed it. I believe I gave this 3 stars. So this basically follows 3 young black Muslim women after a terrorist attack in the United States, I think Washington DC. So there's a terrorist attack, and after that a lot of Islamophobia comes up, and it basically follows the lives of these 3 young girls and how this attack kind of affects them and their like immediate environment or society or neighborhood, however you want to put it. And so because of all the Islamophobia and everything coming up because of terrorist attack, these girls decide to make a blog where they like talk about their experiences as young Muslim women. I really enjoyed this book, like I've already said like 10 times already. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. However, I think my only issue with this is that I wish there was more like character development, like not really character development. I don't even know what it is. It's just that certain aspects of this book, like for example now the friendship between these 3 girls, like 1 minute they're all strangers, they don't know each other, the next minute they're besties. Like we don't get to see them becoming besties. There's no like it's just like 1 minute they didn't know each other, fast forward the next minute they know everything about each other's lives and their besties and everything. Like it just felt forced. I wish everything came naturally. Like I do not really see them bonding with each other, anything. It's just that one day they didn't tell each other anything, like everybody was just minding their business. The only thing is that they have a blog together. The next minute these people, they are besties, they know everything about each other. Like I never saw them bond. It felt like we just jumped a whole section of the book and moved to the ending. Yeah, but apart from that, this is a really nice book. This is a YA book, so I feel like for the audience it is meant for, like this book is like really nice, really good. I would recommend. Then the next book I read was On Rotation. This one is about, what's her name, Angela. So On Rotation follows this young lady. Her name's Angela. She is I think 2nd generation immigrant, a Ghanaian American, and she's like a medical student. She's a doctor basically. Anyway, so we follow this young lady and her life as a medical student, and also like her trying to navigate relationships and everything. I enjoyed this. I gave this 4 stars. I did have some issues with this book though, which we'll get to before the ending of this review. I like this book for different reasons. For one reason, I liked this book tried to talk about a lot of things, and for the most part I think it succeeded in doing what he set out to do. He tried to talk about the expectation that comes with being a child of an immigrant, like the expectations of that comes trying to be child of an immigrant, where the parents did not have the opportunity to do what they really wanted to do, like maybe the job they wanted or something like that, and they could not do that because of their immigrant status, and like a lot of opportunities were not available to them. So you as the child now, there's a lot of pressure put on you to achieve everything, like get a high-paying job, be stable, like unlike these parents that could not do the things they wanted to do simply because they moved to a new country and a lot of things were limited for them. So there's a lot of expectation on you to like do really good, like get this really good job and just have a stable, happy life, and just be able to stand on your own 2 feet. So this tries to talk about that, and then she's also a medical student, and you know how it's like. Anyway, so this tries to talk about that, and also the expectations that parents just generally put on their children, especially first children. Like you're the first child. Can't relate because I'm not the first child. You cannot come and kill me. I will do what I want at the end of the day. So couldn't relate to the part of being like first child. So you have to like, as a first child, the pressure that comes with being the first child. Can't relate to that, honestly. I won't lie. Can't relate. I'm not the first child. I'm the middle child. So different dynamic. Anyway, this book tries to talk about that. Also tries to talk about like dating as a black woman, especially a dark-skinned black woman, where most of the times either people don't like you because they're like, oh, colorism, and people preferring lighter skinned people to darker skinned, and also like if you're the type of person that has, is it BBW, they call it like big up, big back, you understand? So she's one of those like BBW shape. Is it BBW they call it? I don't know, but like when the front is big and the back is also bigger, so that like people just want you for your body. She tries to talk about that also, and I feel like to an extent she does a good job of it. for the dating as a black woman bit, and also tries to talk about the experiences and the struggles of people in the medical profession, and how being in this profession, it kind of consumes all aspects of your life, and most of the time you find that you are not able to like maintain relationships, friendship, all the ships you can basically think of. Yeah, like how being in the medical field sometimes affects your social life. Basically, yeah, this book also tries to, talk about that. Yeah, there's a lot of medical references in this book, which I frankly did not care for. Like, it felt like I was watching, sometimes I just sit on it and it just be like I'm watching Grey's Anatomy, which I'm not a fan of, so didn't care. Could have done without it. I'm not saying it should be removed, but I just did not give a damn. Anyway, I just thought I should mention that. But apart from that, yeah, the book is okay. However, I did have some issues with it. Number one issue, frankly, the young lady, Angela, whatever her name was, she was bad vibes. I won't lie to you. The young lady was bad vibes. It's like she has a lot of self-esteem issues that I feel were not properly dealt with, because like she will say certain things about herself and her body, or yeah, and there was never like a point when she came back to be like, you know what, I love myself the way I am. Like, we never got that. And I guess since this book is not like her, like chronicling her life from start to finish, I feel like learning to love yourself is a journey. It's like, it's not something you can do in a day. So I'm not saying it's bad that they chose to portray her as a character that had self-esteem issues. It happens, everybody has it. Like, people have it, they overcome it, whatever. But I'm just like, I don't want to read a book about somebody that has no self-esteem. I'm not saying it's bad that she was represented in that way. I'm just saying that I don't want to read about a book with someone with no self-esteem issues. It's like, I like reading about confident babes that think they're that bitch, like this girl, she was just bad vibes. She was killing my vibe. Like, something will happen and then she's already going off of course you would think of me that way, where I'm always like, she would just come off and start saying things like, oh, I'm always people's second choice, like I can never be their first choice, like look at me, I don't deserve it. Like, she just saying things like that, and I'm like, girl, calm down, relax, it's okay. Like, I need this babe to start seeing herself, like, even in her mind, she's not number one. That's like my biggest problem with her. Like, I want her to start seeing herself as number one, because a lot of things happen, and whenever bad things happen, she just starts blaming herself. Oh, it's because she's this way, that's why nobody loves her. And I'm like, babe, if you don't start loving yourself, nobody will love you, basically. So yeah, I'm not saying it's bad that the author chose to portray her in that light, because yeah, it happens to everybody. But I'm just saying, I don't want to read about it. I need to read about confident babes, I need to. I don't want to read about this. I want to. You get it. So yeah, it was kind of bad vibes, but I got over it. Apart from that, aside from that, the other thing I didn't really like is that there's a bit of romance in this book, and towards the ending, I kind of wish like her relationship did not end the way it did. Like, they ended up together, and I wanted the relationship to scatter, because it felt like the author just wanted there to be romance by fire by force. So she, like, at the end, it felt like she was forcing this character to settle. That's what it felt like to me, because the young man, Ricky, overall, he's not a bad person. It's just that towards the end, he was kind of acting sketchy to me. And yeah, he was kind of acting sketchy, and I did not like the way Dana made her. Like, I felt like the Ricky also had like faults in how their relationship ended. But towards the end, the babe Angela goes to meet her mother, and she's like telling her about her relationship status with her situationship, and her mother is like, oh, me and your father, this happened, we fought, he did this to me, I did that to him, but at the end of the day, we still ended up together, that you have to give him a second chance, blah blah blah. Basically, all that was just to encourage the young lady to go and take the young man back, which I did not agree with, because I felt like the Ricky was actually behaving sketchy, and auntie should have just let him go and moved on with life, you know, and learned to love herself. Like, I felt like she should have chosen herself at the ending and moved on, because I do not really think that the young man deserved that at the end of the day. But then at close to the ending, they made her she apologized to Ricky, even though I feel like she never did anything to apologize for. Although sometimes the young lady can jump to conclusions, but I feel like last she did not need to apologize for anything. But they made, like, the author, I'm going to say the author made her apologize just because she wanted it to end in, like, oh, happy ending, they got back together. And I was not happy with that. I really wanted them to break up. Like, I don't like that Ricky boy. I don't like him at all. I was not happy that they got back together. I know this is the spoilers in this, and I'm really sorry for people that will watch this and hear that, and I'm sorry. I had to get my feelings out. I'll put a spoiler sign while editing, so that people that don't want to be spoiled, they'll just skip this part. But yeah, so basically I was not happy with the end, because she ended up with the young man and he was behaving sketchy, and I feel like auntie should have chosen herself and move on. I did not want her to go back to the relationship, but alas, the author wanted relationship ending, so she got it. She got what she wanted. I hope she's happy with herself. Next book I read was Confessions of an Alleged Good Girl. So this book is basically follow this young lady. What was her name again? I can't remember her name. She has this name, Sha. But yeah, so this young lady, she's the pastor's daughter, but she wants to have sex, basically. That book tried to talk about what it feels like to grow up with a strict religious background, and also the importance of sex education, because this girl is going through a lot. And I feel like sex education is not taught properly, bringing it to the Nigerian context. Like, in Nigeria, I feel like the only sex education I got from my parents, in school they teach you about, like, the anatomy, but even the anatomy itself was not even that detailed. Yeah, but like, here in this country, the only thing you hear about sex education is if you touch a boy, you're pregnant. If you think about a boy, you're pregnant. If you kiss a boy, pregnant. Sit near a boy, you're pregnant. That, I'm not joking, that's like the sex education I got. Anything relating to man and you together in the same vicinity, pregnancy. That's what I learned. Sex education. So yeah, I feel like I like this because I feel like it talks about the importance of sex education. That I know, yes, a big part of sex education is talking about practicing, like it's talking about sex, but like I feel like there's a lot more than just, oh, okay, this and this happens and then you have a baby. Yeah, that I feel should be taught, like the importance of practicing safe sex for one, and other conditions relating to sex. Like in this book now, this young lady has a medical condition that she did not even know. She did not even realize she had a condition until she started finding ways to have sex. My point is, sex education is important, and I like the way this book talks about it, and also how it feels like growing up with a strict religious background. Although I want to say that I feel like her parents were not even strict. This book, they're like, oh, she has strict parents, she can't do this, can't do that. And I'm like, this young lady, you're even free self, because look at you, you say you're a pastor's daughter and you won't have a boyfriend, and your parents know. Like, yeah, I'm just thinking a Nigerian pastor's child, and you are opening your mouth to say you have a boyfriend, you're even bringing him home for dinner, so your parents will meet him, asking your father, oh, can I kiss my boyfriend? Your father is not telling you, yes, you can peck him lightly. You can even peck him, and you say you're a pastor's child. Oh God. Anywho, yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I gave this 4 stars. It's a YA book, and yeah, I feel like young people should read this, because I feel like there are just a lot of things that are actually not taught that should be, and this book tries to talk about them. So yeah, it's a good book. The next book I read was The Island of Forgetting. I enjoyed this book to an extent. This is a multi-generational story, and I love those, so that's like one of the reasons why I really enjoyed this book. And it takes place in Barbados. It starts in 1962. It starts with Lapetus. Okay, so that's not how to pronounce the name. I've forgotten. I listened to the audiobook and they pronounce it so, like when the narrator says the name, it sounds so nice in my ear, and then I see the word and something else is coming out from my mouth. So anyway, just take what I say. But Lapetos now, Iapetos, Lapetos. I can't remember the name, but it's Iapetos, Lapetos, something like that. Anyway, so we follow this character, Lapetos, Iapetos, but we follow them, and it starts when this person witnesses the death of his father, and that really traumatizes him and affects him in a way that he's not able to now go back to living his normal life. Like this, it just completely destabilized the young man. The young man can't even function in society again, and then he has a child and his child has a child, and we basically follow the family story. I enjoyed this to an extent. I think my only problem with this book was that I wish it were longer. Like the character development for me, the book is really short, like under 200 pages short, and for my multi-generational story you should be hitting the 400, 500 mark, because I need you to develop those characters so well that it feels like I actually met these people, like I met them in real life. That's how I like my multi-generational story. I want to know these characters intimately. Yeah, like, because I was reading this book and I think I just kept on comparing it to other stories I've read, like Pachinko, where like that Pachinko was over 500 pages, and I loved every minute of it because I love spending time with these characters. I want to know them, like know them from when they are small till when they are old. Like I want to know everything about them, and this book didn't give that to me, so I was kind of disappointed. But I gave this 3 stars. It's still a really good book. I still enjoyed it. This book talks about multi-generational trauma, and it does it really well. I really enjoyed it. It's just that I wanted more from the characters. I wanted more from the characters basically. Anyway, so the next book I read was Dating Dr. Deal. This is a fake dating romance about this young lady. Her name is Rima. Yes, Rima. And basically her sister is getting married, and her father wants to sell. After her sister gets married, her father wants to sell their house and move. Like he wants to retire basically and move. And yeah, so because of that, and basically this house that the father wants to sell is like the house where Rima grows up in, and so she's not happy. She doesn't want the house to be sold, and her father is like, yeah, he's not going to not sell the house, except she plans to buy it from him, and she's like, yeah, sure, she'll buy it. However, she doesn't have enough money to purchase the house, so she makes a deal with her father that if she can get married before, or at least find a fiance before her sister's wedding, he will give her part of the money to buy the house basically. And yeah, so Rima now tries to like find a man in like under 3 months, and that's where she meets Dr. Deal. I think his name is Prem, yes, but people know him as Dr. Deal because he's a popular doctor. And yeah, there's a whole fake dating thing. You know that they do this fake dating thing so that she'll be able to get the house. And also the Dr. Deal also has like his own reasons why he agrees, because he also needs money from his parents that have also agreed to pay him if he decides to get married. So that's like basically it. Anyway, this book I initially gave 2 stars, but on like I think it's been 2 months since I read it, and when I was trying to like at least write some points down for this review, I could not remember why exactly I did not like it. I just remembered not liking it, so I'm thinking of bumping it up to 3 stars because it wasn't so bad now that I think about it. Yeah, I think the only thing I feel like I just didn't care for the characters. Like I didn't care for this book at all. Like I was just reading it for reading sake. I did not really care. I was not attached. One thing, although the smut in this book is really good, I would like the smut is this, like, you know, like, oh, it's a spicy book, and then you only get like 1 scene or spice. That's what I thought I was going to get, but the smut was actually smutting in this book. So yeah, the smut is really good. Yeah, apart from that, there's nothing else that for me. There's nothing else that was really memorable yeah, aside from the smarts, nothing else was really memorable in this book. Rima's family was actually, they were really shitty people. Like, they were very terrible people to her. Like, her family basically treated her like shit. Like, they are making certain decisions in the family and they don't inform her, and then when the decision is made and she's reacting, because that's like a really big decision that she should be involved with, and nobody cared to tell her until the decision was made, and then she's reacting, and they'll just basically make it seem like she's overreacting, when in fact her reaction is justified. So I didn't really like the way her family treated her in this book. Yeah, but book was, I don't even know. I honestly can't remember what I read. I just remember not liking it. So I guess I just didn't care for the characters, and yeah, some of their actions, now that I'm still talking about it, some of the, I think just the way Prima and Pressure, well, the two main characters, the way they were acting sometimes, just, I was irritated. Like, some of the actions were very childish, and it just irritated me. Like, oh, there was this one part. So basically, yeah, at the beginning, when the main characters meet each other for the first time, they meet in a bar and they're like talking, like they really start liking each other, and then they decide to, you know, sleep together. But during the process of committing the deed, what's his name again, Dr. Dew basically runs out on her half naked, and clearly you will not be pleased if that happens to you. So the next time they meet each other again, he's on this show talking about love and how he doesn't believe in love, that love is a scam, blah blah blah. And so they're on live TV now, and he's talking about how he doesn't believe in love, he believes more in compatibility. And the young man was just spilling jargons, and this young lady now is annoyed because when they were on the dates, whatever it is that they were doing the last time they met, this young man was saying, oh, you're the apple of my eye, the sugar in my tea, I cannot live without you, if I don't see you for a day I will die, I expire oxygen, you're the oxygen that I need to survive. That was like what this young man was telling her. Okay, that was not exactly what he was telling her, but you get, like, so she's not like, how can you say all those things to me and then come today and you're saying love is a scam, you don't believe in love is a state of the mind and it's not real, it's an illusion, you are basically gaslighting yourself. That's like basically what the young man is saying there. So she's annoyed because she's like, how can you say two very opposite things? That means he was only trying to sleep with her, he was playing with her last night. So she, mind you, this is live TV, so like everybody in the world can see what's happening, and she just basically storms into like the set where he's talking, and she's screaming at him, saying he's a liar, he's a fraud, that yesterday that's not what he was saying, how can he do this to her, that she feels used and like he just used her for her body, saying a lot of things. And I'm just like, girl, this is life. Like, I get that the young man's a liar and you want to put him in his place, but you could have, I just feel like you it's like, if I were there, I would be completely mortified. Like, how can you just start screaming on live TV like that? Like, sis, like, it just, sometimes the young lady just goes off and starts, and I'm just like, but guys, look at the situation, read the room, my goodness. Like, sometimes the way they just act in public is just, for me, I got secondhand embarrassment. Like, sister, calm down, please, I'm begging you, calm down. So yeah, I think that was like from that very first scene where she just goes off on live TV on him, which I guess is like, I don't even know what it is, but like after that moment, they're just very public. Let me just put it in that way. They're just very public. The young lady does not have shame. If she wants to disgrace you, she's ready to do it anytime, anywhere. And it just rubbed me off. Like, oh my god. Anyway, I just got really bad vibes from them. So yeah, I didn't really care for the characters, basically. That's it. So the next book I read was The Murmur of Bees. I really love this story. Like, this book basically follows a family and how they survive before, during, and after the Spanish flu. It takes place in Spain. It's a historical fiction book. And yeah, we follow this family and how they try to survive during this war. I don't know which war. I think it's civil war in Mexico or something like that. And also during the Spanish flu. I really like this book. I don't have a review for this. I just wanted to say that I love, like, what I wrote in my notes is I don't have the words to describe the amount of love I feel for the characters in this book. Like, there's a particular character, his name is Simon Pio. Oh my god, God, I love guy. So this book has magical realism in it. It has it's a coming of age story also. I don't know what to say to convince you, but if you like historical fiction, if you like books that have magical realism in it, if you like reading books with characters that, like, the way the characters are written, they feel like real people that you care about. It feels like, yeah, like real people basically. Then read this book. I don't have a review. It's just, this is a beautifully written. The plot, beautiful characters, everything about it is beautiful. I loved it. Please read it. The next book I read was Royal Assassin. I don't have a review for this one also, but I did enjoy it. Yeah, let's just end it there. I enjoyed it. I don't have a review, but I enjoyed it. Maybe when I read the third book, I'll be able to, like, say something about it. Okay, so let's just try. Okay, so Royal Assassin is like the second book in the Farseer trilogy series. So the first book is The Assassin's Apprentice. So basically it follows this young man. His name is Fitz Chivalry. Yes, Fitz Chivalry. And basically he's the bastard son of the prince to the Farseer kingdom. I think the name of the country or kingdom is Farsi or something like that. No, it's not Farsi. I can't remember. I'm sorry. But like, there's this kingdom and there's this prince, and basically in this kingdom people are named according to, I think it's, will I say, yeah, they are named according to things they emulate. Like, so like if somebody's name is Charity, that means they're very charitable. If somebody's name is Virtue, they are virtuous. If somebody's name is Peace, they are peaceful, that kind of thing. So this young man now, he's the bastard son of a prince known as Chivalry. So when it comes out that Chivalry has a child outside, obviously he cheated on his wife, people were shocked, they were scandalized. You mean he did this? Because of the whole scandal now, the Chivalry decides to retire, and something's happened to him after he retires, and events occur, and basically his child is then made to come and live. That's Fitz now. That's what the book is about. Basically, he's transported, like the king now asks Fitz to come and live in the palace. Then he grows up a bit, and along the line he's turned into an assassin. Basically, this book is a lot. Like, this book is very, like, if you don't like slow paced book, like, you know, I'm waiting for this trailer to pass. I'm really distracted. But you know in your heart of hearts that you are not a slow paced person. Like, you don't fuck with slow paced book, don't read this book. I advise you, don't even bother. Except you want to try share, but like, you don't like slow paced book, don't even bother. But like, if you enjoy world building, like, you like books that have very good world building, like this world is very vast and just, it feels like a real place basically. If you enjoy those, like, really good world building, really good character setup, or whatever they call it, character developments, then read this book. Like, this book doesn't have a plot also. Like, you don't mind reading character heavy stories, like no plot, just vibes type of book. I advise you read this story because there's no plots. But there are plots, like, yeah, little things here and there. There are some plots, but generally, like, there's no end goal until I think from book 2 we start to get an end goal. Book 2 and 3 have, like, book 2 and 3 has a plot, but book 1 is just like setting up the worlds, getting to know the characters, putting everyone in place. So there's no plots, just vibes. We're just here to know who this and that is, why this person is important, why this is not, why we need to go off and talk about it completely. Like, it's just, we're setting up things. It's very slow paced, very character heavy. but I loved it. Did I also like book 2? I like book 2 even more. I feel like if I gave book 1 4 stars, I'll give book 2 5 stars. It's just, the more you read, the more you just enjoy how expansive this world is, and how I like the way this author writes. I really enjoy the way they write. Okay, so the next book I read was What Storm, What Thunder, and this is based on real events. This book is set during a time where there was an earthquake in Haiti in January 2010. And yeah, it's like, it feels, the book is kind of like a short story collection where we just follow different characters that are affected by this earthquake and just how their life goes from there. So we have before the earthquake, during the earthquake, and after. Like, just this, I think it follows 9 people, and just how this earthquake affected their life. Some survive, some don't survive. It's a very heartbreaking read because a lot of really terrible things happen, and then and I think the saddest part for me in this book is that it's wanted to be like, oh, you're reading fiction, yeah, this didn't happen. But it's another thing to know that what happens in this book, and even worse, like, people had to go through what is happening in this book, and something even, and maybe even worse than what actually happened in this book. And yeah, in real life basically. And yeah, just that really broke my heart. This is a very heavy book, but it's written really well, done really well. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. The next book I read was The Love Hypothesis. I gave it 3 stars. I don't have a review for this. It was like, yeah, it was cringy, but I loved it. I enjoyed it. But I gave it 3 stars because it's kind of like a basic story. Like, I've seen this book done so many times. Like, I've read so many books like this. So I feel like in the long run, this book isn't really memorable. Like, there's nothing about it that will stay with me. It's a very basic story. Like, we have this quirky white girl that doesn't think she's really pretty. Oh, don't forget, they're always skinny. There's this skinny white girl that's quirky. She does things in an unusual way, so she's quirky. And yeah, she doesn't really see herself as like beautiful, drop dead gorgeous, whatever. And then there's this really tall, big bear of a man, tall, dark and handsome white man that's, for no apparent reason, is just in love with her and willing to kill for her. That's like the basic storyline. And I've seen this type of book so many times. So like, overall, it's not really memorable. Like, 2 years from now, I may not remember what The Love Hypothesis was all about, but I did enjoy it. Like, it was cute sometimes it was very cringy. Like, the fact that this young lady is dating her professor in school is just wild to me, because I cannot, it's not something I like so imagine. Like, thinking, I was reading this book, and sometimes I'll just think of, like, in context of when I was in school, and like with the lecturers like in my school. Imagine is hearing that a student is dating a lecturer in school. I don't even think that relationship can even come out. But I guess it's kind of different from them, because she's not like what's the word? She's a master. I mean, she's a PhD student, so I guess it's kind of different. But at the same time, I'm still like, not the best type of relationship I like reading about. But I still enjoyed this book, Sha. And I guess one other thing that annoyed me, that it was sometimes very repetitive. Like, the amount of time Adam Carson, like, you see that word Adam Carson, like, we don't even say, oh, Adam. Like, the amount of time the young man's full name is called in this book, or we reference how big and tall he is. I was just like, sis, you can calm down. You can rest, bro. Like, you can calm down. It's not that. I still enjoyed it, Sha. It wasn't such a bad book. Anyway, so this book is about this young lady who has a fake relationship with her professor in school, but he's not teaching her, but he's a professor in the school. That was a very terrible description, I'm sorry. And then the final book that we're going to talk about in this video is Against a Loveless World by Susan Abuleva. Yes, I gave this 5 stars. I really enjoyed this book. This is a phenomenal book. It follows this young lady. Her name, she has many names. They know her as Nar. She's also known as Ruby. And there's one other one that apparently is a beautiful name, but I can't pronounce well, so I'm not going to try. But anyway, so we follow this young lady. She's a political prisoner in an Israeli prison. And yeah, so there's a lot of narratives going on around her. People say she's a prostitute, they say she's a terrorist, and so in this book she tells us her story of how she ended up in the Israeli prison. I really enjoyed this book. Like, I love Noa as a character. I think she's a very strong, very resilient person. Like, if I went through half the things that Noa has gone through, my dear, I think I'll just fold myself in the corner and cry, because I can't deal with the things this young lady goes through. She's like, my girl has been through a lot. When they say somebody has suffered, Noa has suffered, but she's like, she always comes back strong, which is something I really like about her. She's the type of person that has made a lot of decisions, she makes a lot of decisions that you may not necessarily agree with, but you still understand her. And I really like that. I think almost all the characters in this book are like that too. Like, most of them, they make decisions that you wouldn't make, or like you wouldn't necessarily agree with, but you kind of understand where they're coming from, and you, like, not necessarily that you've gone through what they're going through, but you kind of relate to them and why they needed to do certain things. This is something I really liked about this book. Another thing I really liked was the writing. I love the way this young lady puts pen to paper, how she connects one word to another. I absolutely adore it. I worship it. It is, wow, she's good. Like, she knows, this author knows their bits in writing. She knows what she's doing. When they give this young lady pen, she knows what she's doing. She's not just writing for writing's sake. Her writing, oh, I love it. Anyway, yeah, I really like the characters in this book, and I love the and I love the writing. What else? Yeah, this story is really good. It's really heartbreaking to just read this. Yeah, it's a really heartbreaking. It's very heavy, so I guess if you plan on reading this book, like, just check for trigger warnings. If you know, like, check for trigger warnings, because a lot happens. And yeah, this is like the first Palestinian book I have read, and honestly, I want more. I recently got like a lot, like, I came across some recommendations for Palestinian books, and I plan to read all of them. I don't know when or how, but I'll just be reading them little by little. But yeah, but for this particular author, I'm going to read everything she has written. Yeah, I've already started her other book, Between the Sky and The Blue Between Sky and Water. I already started reading that one, and I'm going to read everything she writes, because I am completely devoted to her as a human being now. Anyway, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching with me so far. This has been really long, so if you got up to this point, please leave this emoji in the comments, and thank you so much, and I'll see you in my next video.